If I ever look like I'm turning red, it's because it's hot as all get out in my filming studio because of these stupid filming lights, so I apologize ahead of time. So the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie comes out in about 7 days. It's October 20th at the time of the filming of this video. That means I have a little less than 7 days to finish a project I've been working on. This right here is a Spring Bonnie helmet from Five Nights at Freddy's. And so I would like to have this done by the time the actual film is released. Preferably before, which is 100% possible. I've already sanded and primed all this. I could probably stand to sand it and prime it again, but that is not the vocal point of this video, because if it were, I'd be talking about this, which definitely needs to be primed at least once because it has not yet been primed for paint, but I need to be able to connect this to this and make it go nom 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 nom. So, how are we going to do that, you might ask? Well, that's a very good question, and to answer said question, I have springs that I bought off of Amazon. They're like cheap little springs, which is awesome because I wanted to have a spring lock suit look and make it look really cool with springs. So essentially, we're going to connect the spring to the bottom jaw, like so, and then connect the top half of the spring to the interior jaw, like so, and really kind of capture that realistic effect. But before we can do that, we've got to attach the joint system to the bottom jaw. The bottom jaw, I'm going to insert these little ball bearings, which I also bought off Amazon. Yep. They're just these little teeny tiny ball bearings, very small, and they fit into these little sockets right here. So that way you can open and close the jaw and have no real issues with it. Now, disclaimer, I myself did not create any of this on Blender or whatever software program the person used. I will put the original creator down in the description box below because I did not make any of this. I am simply just 3D printing it and making a project off of it because I figured it'd be fun for the new FNAF movie, and I thought it'd be really cool for Halloween because, you know, spooky Halloween time, so there's that. So again, I give full credit to the original creator of this. Again, if you want to check out his stuff, I'll have all of his stuff down in the description box below, because honestly, this is a really cool project and he did a smashing job with it, so feel free to go give him some support because this is honestly really cool. But back to the video. So mainly today, what I'm going to be focusing on is the ball bearing installation on the jaw, because what I would like to do is be able to have the bottom jaw removable when you're putting on the costume and be able to have it disassemble from the bottom jaw and the top jaw, because quite frankly, I cannot fit my big old noggin into the helmet with both segments attached. So that's going to be an issue, because if I cannot take the bottom jaw off when I'm suiting up, that means I'm going to have to cut a hole in the back here, which I really don't want to do, because once you cut away from it, you can't put it back on. Not without it looking like really sloppy. So the goal is insert the articulation system and insert the closing mechanism for the jaw. Quite simple. I already have an idea of how I'm going to do that. There's that. I'm going to be using Loctite to glue down the ball bearings, because Loctite is like super glue, like on steroids, so we're going to go with that. So let's get into it. Again, it is deathly hot in here, and I am drowning in my own tears. Anyway, so we're going to take the ball bearings here. We're going to only need a couple. So there's one, there's two. Perfect. I don't know why they felt the need to include so much within a pack, but we're going to roll with it. So I'm going to set the springs off to the side here. And I hope this works, because if this doesn't work, this right here took 24 hours to print alone. It was like 23 hours and 30 some odd minutes. Took a full day to print, so this is a very substantial piece, and I cannot afford to mess this up, but I'm going to put these ball bearings kind of in the top crevice of these little notches, so that's how we're going to do this. So what we're going to do to keep Loctite from getting all over my desk, we're going to put paper down. We're going to take our Loctite, we're going to open this up. Now this stuff is actually like really good, so we're going to take a dab, and by dab I mean a healthy amount, and kind of put it along the inside there. So, oh yeah, y'all can see that. Okay, let my camera refocus. And we're going to quite simply just drop the ball bearing into the, did I just get that on my hand? Into that socket right there. And quite literally just let that dry as is. So there's that. Okay, so post-production, Chamber Productions here. As you will see, I have put the ball bearings directly attached to the jaw socket itself, as exampled there. Well, Loctite failed me, so I went ahead and I attached it directly to the post, as you can see here. This is the route I should have gone to begin with, but I didn't, so there's that. That's all well and good, which I feel like the Loctite will hold just fine with the two materials. And that's what I'm hoping. As I just stuck my finger in it, I need to go wash this off before I Loctite my hand together. I'll be right back. After an incredibly dumb decision to stick my finger directly in the Loctite, I rinsed my hands off, so it should be fine if I don't have Loctite remnants on my hand, whatever. Don't make that big of a deal. Now we just gotta do the other side. I just realized I've been filming all this time, and one, I have not made a thumbnail for this video, and two, I have no idea what I want that thumbnail to look like, so yeah, next struggle I gotta worry about. But for now, good news is, the ball bearings are setting. The glue looks like it's doing a pretty good job. It looks like it's actually curing really fast, which is awesome, so pretty confident with that. Next big issue is the springs. So the springs I'm really happy with. They're very loose tension, so it's going to be very easy to apply these to the mask, and I ain't got to worry about the springs causing any issues with the mask itself. And I know whenever I get this all put together, I'll be able to open and close the jaw with no real issue while I'm wearing it. Problem is installing these. So the spring itself, there's no real issue. These are open loops. They're not really soldered together at the base here, because the loop is kind of just curled in on itself. So the good news is I can take this, angle it down, make a hook. That is awesome. So problem one out of the way. Problem two is drilling a hole on the inside of the mask to where I can put those hooks in, because this surface right here, these walls are not very thick. And there are a couple of different ways I can go about drilling this hole. One, I can use a soldering iron, which I think I'm going to do, because I think that'll be the best option, the most controlled option. But my other option would be to use a drill. Now, a drill would work perfectly, and if I had a Dremel, I would use that. But my current Dremel, it died on me. It left me. So, that's not an option. So, I have a drill. I could use that, but the problem is, drill's a lot bigger, has a lot more power, and if I ever calculate how much pressure I need on the wall, it will punch right through the exterior of the mask. I do not want that. That is not good. That is not good for business. So, probably not going to use a drill. I'm probably going to use a soldering iron, but it's just really nerve-wracking because this whole helmet assembly here has had hours and hours worth of print, so there's a lot of time poured into the 3D printing process of this, and it is really nerve-wracking, and it makes me very nervous. But we're going to do it anyway, because why not, you know? You ever watch hours of your life come down to one moment where there is no room for error? Same. So, I'm going to take a Sharpie here. I'm going to kind of mark where I want these springs to be. Alright. Living nightmare number one, somewhat solved. Hey, got me a pair of pliers. Ta-da! So now, that may work. Something like that. Hey, that ain't bad. We're making progress. We're making progress. So, I've got to open up this wire here. And that top spring seems to be quite welded into the plastic. So that's good. I might go ahead and do the other side while I'm kind of doing all this. So that way, it's kind of just one and done. Is this not the most jerry-rigged thing you've ever seen? And now, both the spring lock hooks are ready to go. How cool is that? So now, all we gotta do is make sure these are somewhat even. Make sure all that comes together right, and we're all good to go. So, we're going to kind of carve that first one out and see if we can sink it in. Yeah, like a glove. Just like that. Beautiful. That. Smell that? It's the smell of success. Alright, hole is made. Now I'm just going to shoot this up against the gap, like so. And there we have it, maybe. Oh yeah. That works. It's a little bit loose compared to what I would like, but we got it. I like that. Put it on for maybe a test fit. I might try to up the springs tension just a little bit. Might move the springs a little bit further forward. Maybe towards the front of the teeth, maybe. Let me see if I can get this on real quick. So good news. The helmet works. It works really well. There are a few minor issues I have with it. A lot of that I think is because if you look right here, this little bracket broke off when I went to pull the supports off, so I had to fuse it back into the rest of the helmet, and I think that's creating some alignment issues, which there's not really a whole lot I can do about that. If I were to print a second one of these, I'd be more careful of that and caution viewers of that, so there is something to be discussed there, and a lot of that can be adjusted with infill layers and stuff like that. But as far as the helmet fits go, it looks like a genuine spring lock suit. So what I have to do is take the jaw, disconnect it from the rest of the body, like so, and kind of push it forward. And it creates a very interesting look, I must say. Then simply take my head, like so, and lock the jaw into place, and there we have it. The spring lock suit is on, and it looks quite well. Now, I will say, the reason I was kind of holding it up there by the ear is because the eyebrows here, I've melted them down to try to kind of help with the issue, but the eyebrows have been cutting into my forehead and it hurts, and I've probably got marks on my forehead, and you can probably see, look like Dave Miller out of the Silver Eyes book. But yeah, it is something I've got to fix. I'll probably put some foam padding in here for the eyes, but I've tried to kind of melt it down to kind of create a little bit more space. But outside of that, I'm fairly happy with the project. There are a few, like I said, minor issues that I have with it. The jaw not lining up on this socket due to it not just fitting, and I don't know why that is. There's like just a little bit too much give right here, and it just does not want to stay on. But the overall mechanism, the jaw being able to open and close, I like. I think it works really well, and I'm really happy with how that looks. I think the springs look absolutely fantastic. I think it really does add to that whole animatronic look. And as a first-time project for something this big, I'm really happy with it. I think it's really cool. Again, this video wasn't the best. I've been going back and looking at the footage as I'm going along and making this, and I can't say my camera angling was not the best, and I apologize. But to kind of give you the rundown of what we've done today, Essentially, we created holes on the inside of the helmet here for the hooks to sink into, and then created a hole at the bottom of the jaw for the hook to sink into, creating our opening and closing mechanism. Then we just glued our ball bearings into the sockets here on the side, so that way they have a place to rest and the jaw can articulate, open and close. So not a very complex system, but it was not really designed for the spring, so that's definitely a new twist on it. And I gotta say, I'm really happy with it. I think it turned out really well. So if you want to see the final project, I'm gonna go ahead, paint this up later this week. And if you want to see that, be sure to stay tuned, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss any videos from my channel. That's all from me, Champion Productions, signing off.